Hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's really great to see you. You know, this week is not about reports. No CPI, no job report, no decisions from the Fed yet. This week is all about your burning questions.
That's right. We're always harassing you guys to send us questions. So we put together a great list.
We have harassed them quite often.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're going to cover everything from mortgage interest rates to those whopping builder incentives you always hear about for new homes. And we're going to talk about the real estate lawsuit and how it affects sellers and buyers.
Well, let's go ahead and get started.
Yes.
Our first question came from a video I believe we did probably late fall, maybe early winter this last year about getting your home ready for sale. And the question came in, how long will it take you guys to get my house on the market? And it kind of depends. Again, the first step, as we've talked about many times, is coming out and visiting your home to see the condition, to see kind of where you are, talk about your schedule and see where you are. Once everybody's made a decision that it's time to go ahead and get started, I mean, ideally we'd like about 14 days to get things prepared, to get people out, vendors out like photographers and other folks out to see the house, to get them oriented. But I think, you know, in a quick time frame, maybe 5 days, 5 days. There's a lot, of course, that has to happen behind the scenes in preparation. And one of the things that we've learned over the years is that you really want to have both the house as well as the marketing material finalized before you go ahead and hit that active button. I mean, certainly we can put it on the market as coming soon prior to that. But, ideally we want to make sure everything is right before we make the house active and start having people, buyers come through.
That's so true. Once your house is ready, meaning you've taken all your boxes and they're out the house and you're ready to have people come through, I agree, 5 days. It's mainly just to get the photographs. You need to do a lot of marketing, the descriptions, all the sites it needs to be on. 5 days gives enough time for us to do all of that for you.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of that initial point. It still continues to develop after that time that we go active. We'll be scheduling open houses, etc. But that 5 days, probably a minimum, ideally, around 14 days. Hope that helps to answer that question.
Yes. The next question comes from a buyer, and they're asking, will mortgage interest rates go down this year?
Whoa.
Everybody is kind of wondering about these mortgage interest rates.
They are.
I cannot say I blame you. I think we're just as perplexed as anyone else. The truth is that right now, interest rates are around 6.5. They're now over 7%, but they're staying under 7.2, at least for right now. What the future holds, we don't know. For this buyer, I know they're asking because they want to know, should I buy a home now or should I wait a little while until interest rates go down?
Questions.
And our response recently has been, you know what? This is the new normal. This seems to be what is happening right now. We don't know what the Federal Reserve is going to do. They do have a new meeting coming up next week, Wednesday. We're going to have some answers. But the problem is that the last inflation report was not going in the direction anyone wanted to see going. So we have no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah, and we said, I think it was in last week's video, we said that while you're waiting for interest rates to come down, home prices are continuing to go up. And so therefore, I think it's probably a time in which we've stopped making predictions. We promised we've stopped doing that, because there's still some volatility in the marketplace. The economy is it's just thriving. It's doing very, very well. But it seems like inflation numbers are still up enough that the Federal Reserve is probably not forecasting a drop in interest rates anytime soon. So these are probably numbers, again, as Denise is famous for coining, this is kind of the new normal, right? All right, the third question, and this comes from a video that we did, I think, just a little while ago about buying new construction. Builder incentives, are they really a bargain? And I hate to be coy about this, but maybe yes, maybe no. And probably the best suggestion that we can have and give to you is to make sure that you involve a real estate agent, which has been through the process many times before, because many times the incentives that the builder is offering you, typically that's going to be through their mortgage company and through their title company. You receive these incentives if you use both of those services. Just a quick story. You love my stories. Just recently, we talked to a client of ours that had been through the discussion with the builder, and the builder was offering them a whopping $20,000 in incentives. And when we really sat down and we started taking a look at what those incentives included, they included a lot of fees, a lot of lender fees that were being added into the transaction. And we did a comparison, and that $20,000 incentive they were offering, based upon the numbers that we saw, were actually going to cost them $27,000. So needless to say, we went kind of in a different direction in that particular situation. The best way to do it is to incorporate, one of us that's seen this process many times and get some advice and really crunch those numbers, right?
Yeah, because some of the incentives are really good, but I think what we learned from doing this over and over with different builders is that our message is really, you should be comparing those rates. It shouldn't just be you take what is given to you, just like you're shopping around for a new refrigerator. You shop around, you check online, you check the different rates.
Look for some options.
That's right, and that's what we're really here for. The next question we have, are we still in a seller's market? And I would say, yes, we are. The month supply for homes in Northern Virginia are still under 2%. And 3 to 6% is what they consider to be average, a balanced market. It's not sellers or buyers. When it goes more than that, then you're talking about being in a buyer's market. So it seems from the numbers, we're still in a seller's market. The inventory is still an issue in that we aren't seeing we do see it improving, but it's nowhere near where a balanced market really should be. And so, yes, it is considered still a seller's market. Now, with that, we are seeing situations, and we saw it here in one of our neighborhoods where we put a house on the market, and all of a sudden 10 other homes came on without even doing a coming soon. So
very quickly, in less than probably 2 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
We had no idea it was going to happen. And so it kind of flooded the market for us, and it did affect our sales. So I think the message is still a seller's market, but it's also a spring market. So you're seeing some inventory growth in some neighborhoods for sure.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's probably always, we're going to suggest, incorporate a professional into your lives as you're out looking around, as you're considering selling, of course. But it's almost, in the past, we said it basically is region by region, right?
Yes.
And then we kind of dial that down and say it's kind of zip code by zip code. Well, now we're starting to see it be basically neighborhood by neighborhood, because, as much as we see in our listing inventory right now that there's inventory available, there's probably, more properties on the market now than there's been in quite some time. We also go into other neighborhoods and we realize there's nothing on the market. So there's going to be an extremely competitive advantage for the sellers there. There's just nothing else that's going to be selling, and a lot of buyers that are looking. So the best thing to do is again, like always, is to do your research, investigate, again, neighborhood by neighborhood on those.
That's right. And that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. And last question is that this is very poignant. This is very timely and has to do, I think, with a lot of the confusion and perhaps a lot of the press that everybody is reading about. And this is with everything we're hearing about the real estate lawsuit. We've heard how this will affect real estate agents, but how will this affect me as a seller and ultimately as a buyer? Mm-hmm. And I think, as Denise kind of, we talked about this in the past, and we think that this is actually, there's a lot of energy going on and very negative energy out with regard to the changes that are being made. And we continue to be briefed on this. I mean, we're basically daily being briefed on this. Mm-hmm. We're having certainly company meetings. We're having team meetings with the two of us and other people that we're working with. But I think ultimately this is going to be a positive for everyone.
Yes.
So my take on this is that through more disclosures, through more education, through more discussions, and that's one of the things that I think this will really benefit everybody about, is it's kind of forcing the entire real estate community, and that is buyer agents as well as seller agents, to talk about the details with their clients. Because I think in the past, one of the things that we've heard, the negatives that we've heard, is that I didn't know. You know, I thought I had to. I thought I was being forced to, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's going to be a much more open forum now in which those that were kind of not perhaps, I don't want to say educated, but informed with regard to how the process really worked. And I'm talking about real estate agents as well as clients, buyers and sellers both. I think this is just going to force everyone to have kind of an open forum and have disclosures and disclosures and disclosures that really kind of keep us as agents accountable and also keep our clientele accountable and have kind of a fair, open, kind of even playing field for everyone.
For sure. If you're currently in the market, I think what you're going to see happen, if it's not already happening, all agents before showing you a home should have an agreement, whether that agreement is good for a day, for that particular house, for a month, for 3 months. That is a discussion for you to have, and that's one of the discussions.
Yeah, we've done that with sellers, you know, for years and years and years.
Well, yes.
But now we're going to need to have those discussions with the buyers.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's one thing in terms of most agents, and really in Virginia, all agents should have agreements before showing any home. Whether that will happen, we will see.
Yeah.
The next thing,
We're certainly going to do that.
for sure. And for the next thing is on the seller's part. What you're going to notice is that discussion with your listing agent when it comes to the commission being paid is going to be a longer, lengthier discussion, because your agent is going to make it clear that you do not have to pay for the buyer's agent. However, they will probably take the time to explain why you might want to do that.
And what are the benefits?
And what are the
buyer
benefits
agent,
of
right?
doing that? And
Yeah.
it will be a discussion for you to have with your agents and to really just lay everything out on the table.
Yeah, from our standpoint, clarification is never a bad thing. Transparency is never a bad thing. And I think we believe that this actually can have some real benefits to our industry, and then in turn benefit the sellers and the buyers that everyone is working with, right?
That's right.
Well, as always, we really hope your time with us today is beneficial, and we certainly are looking forward to keeping you updated on all these topics. And stay tuned, because we're going to include more questions in the future. It really helps us to then think about, okay, what other topics should we be covering? And it's great to cover these questions and kind of give feedback to you. Thank you so much for giving us feedback. And as always, you know, if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're making great strides there, and we feel a responsibility to continue to produce, you know, good videos that have great information in them.
Yes, we always want to hear from you. Keep those questions coming in. Subscribe to the channel. Next week, we do have an announcement from the Federal Reserve next
May
Wednesday.
1st.
So we're definitely going to update you on that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.